Hello, guys. As always, with our LinkedIn Live, there seems to be some glitch with the tool or the other. So we've been furiously for the last 20 minutes trying to get it to work. I think fortunately it has. I hope we are live, Nilesh, if you're online, and I hope that our audience on LinkedIn and YouTube is still with us. Again, sincere apologies for the delay. It was circumstances beyond our control always, with these streaming tools which we have to connect to our social medias. There always seems to be a glitch. We'll perhaps even change it after the last two times where it kind of messed up. But anyways, we are here now. I'm here to answer as many of your queries as possible. I got messages on LinkedIn already saying that if the LinkedIn live is happening, it's happening for the next 45 minutes. We started 10 minutes late due to certain technical glitches, but here we are. As always, you can use the chat box to start sending in your questions on LinkedIn and YouTube, and we would be more than happy to answer as many questions as possible. So keep them coming. As always, if I am not able to answer your questions, and quite often what happens during these sessions is because of the sheer number of questions, we aren't able to answer all of them. You can always schedule a free consultation call on www.gradvine.com, and you can get your questions answered then and there on that consultation call. So always do that. All right, I'm here again from my guys. Like all of you are watching on LinkedIn, there is a glitch on LinkedIn apparently. So questions being posted there are difficult. I'd request you to hop on to our YouTube channel. That would be the best bet at this point in time if you want your questions answered. Again, sincere apologies, guys. These are technical glitches that are honestly beyond our control. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But yeah, you can get your questions flying in there, right? And I'd be happy to answer them. All right. I see a couple of questions coming in already. All right. Hello, Sreekar. Dartmouth and Cornell MEM. I have 6+ years of work ex. Would that be a con for selection? GRE 315, UG 9.27. No, I've had people with a variety of different work experiences get in, be it Cornell or Dartmouth. They do take in a variety of different profiles. I've had people with 7-8 years of work ex get in. I've had freshers get in as well. So of course, you will be a little bit of an outlier in that class, once you get in, but I don't think that's a major con. So you will have a solid shot at both these programs. So definitely consider applying. If you need any help with the process, please do reach out to us at Gradvine. We'd love to help you out with the shortlisting, the application essays, which are very many. In fact, it's 20th November. Considering the number of essays you have, we should get started with that very soon, and we'd be happy to help you out. All right. All right, NYU Management of Tech versus NU MEM, which one is better? Both are very closely matched. One is not definitely better than the other. It really depends on your priority. Both locations are good, programs are good. NEU has the addition of the co-op, NYU has the addition of the brand. So it really depends on which curriculum you enjoy the most. So very tough pick. I would pick, maybe I would pick, NYU marginally because it's a smaller class. What's the entire process of submitting an LOR? Recommenders only need to copy and paste the content ? So in your application, you enter the recommenders email ID. They get a link, right? And on this link, they have a couple of options. They can either upload a PDF or they can copy paste a text. Every recommendation form will have a PDF that has to be uploaded. Some very rare ones have a copy paste box, but most likely they have to upload a PDF. So it's a scanned copy usually of your recommendation on a letterhead with your recommender's signature uploaded from an official email ID. If one of them is missing also, it's fine. All right, I've seen it is recommended to take technical heavy courses in an MEM program. What about a product management enthusiast for whom entrepreneurial track seems a closer fit? We recommend you take technical electives far more with the MEM. The reason being, people who come with hard skills are more in demand for hiring, right? Entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship tracks largely include soft skills. They don't really include any hard quantitative skills or software related skills. I would recommend that you still take a few statistics, analytics heavy courses because your employability increases. there is a strong requirement of statistics, analytics, decision making under risk and uncertainty, data backed decision making, all of this for product managers as well. So I would recommend you go in as a product manager who has these kind of skills rather than the soft skills which you can pick up at work also. Entrepreneurship track is a nice thing to have, but in terms of pure job opportunities, it will not open up too many opportunities for you. So that's why pick up the hard skills would be my recommendation. All right, I have an NEU MEM admit deferred. Should I apply to NYU MOT for the brand it offers? I would not really recommend it. If you already deferred it and you're waiting a year, you just might as well submit to as many better schools as possible. NYU MOT, while marginally better, it's not a bad decision to go for the NEU program over it also. So it's not that much of a differentiator. So why do you want to spend money applying there? Much rather apply to much better places instead of just a place that's at the same level. If GRE is waived for a university, are we supposed to not send the official scores? Good question. See, you can just write your score in the application, but my recommendation would be to still report it if they're accepting the score. But usually, I would recommend you write an email to them if they want the official score to consider it. But a lot of times they'll just say that, hey, you know what? If you just enter the score in your, in your application, if you want the proof of that score, we will ask you later. So it's best to write an email and ask if you should report the official scores and mention your score, right? If it's waived off, maybe reporting it will not be necessary, so save yourself some money. All right, how do I frame my answer to the introduce yourself question in the MEM admission interview? All right, that's a good question. Introduce yourself is something that will appear in all your interviews, not just your MEM interviews, not just your MBA interviews. It will be there in your job interviews as well. So it's a very good practice to have a good introduction practiced and ready. Keep it simple. Again, when people ask you to introduce yourself, they're not asking you to narrate your projects. They want to know who you are, so you can talk about maybe what you do, what you've studied as an engineer, and maybe a little bit about what you're passionate about doing in the future. Maybe a little bit about your goals, what your interests lie professionally, and then just briefly talk to them about if you're a professional, what kind of work positions you've held in the past. If you're a fresher, you can talk about, very briefly touch upon one or two projects that you did, and maybe one or two extracurriculars. A good way to end the introduce yourself question is to talk about something about you as a person which is non-technical. So maybe talk about your hobbies, maybe talk about something you like doing during your free time. If you play a sport, you can talk about it. Maybe you enjoy treks. Why I ask you to do this is because it sets warm sort of feeling, a little bit more of a relatable feeling to your readers, basically, to your review interviewer, and then it becomes a free flowing conversation, which is incredibly important for you to do, right? In fact, one time I encouraged a person who went to an MBA interview at Stanford, and he recently had a child. So the end of the introduction was like, I'm recently been blessed with a baby girl, right? And then after that, the interviewer talked about how she was very excited when she had her first child, and they went on talking about it for 10 minutes, and that was a beautiful icebreaker, right? That becomes very much more comfortable, and the rest of the interview, you yourself feel more confident. So end it with a nice personal story. Maybe you bake, maybe you do something. End it in a warm sort of sense. In summary, however, definitely prepare well for it. Have a little bit of a script ready. I don't recommend scripts for other answers, but for introduce yourself, definitely do it, and keep it short. Keep it maximum minute and a half, 2 minutes. Don't go off on a whole rant describing every single project. I would not recommend that. It might bore the interviewer. You have plenty of time the rest of the interview to talk about your details of your technical stuff and projects. And of course, at Gradwine, we help you out with the interview prep as well as part of your service. So all of you guys who have not signed up with us, considering applying to MEM programs or MIS programs, which also requires interviews, by the way, definitely do sign up for us so you can take full value of our services. Our quality in these courses is unmatched, pretty much. All right. How would you rate Northwestern and Northeastern for MEM? Northwestern is a better program overall than Northeastern for an MEM. However, Northwestern as an MEM program wouldn't be among the elite ones if you want me to compare. Like, I wouldn't say it's at the same level as a Dartmouth or a Cornell, for instance. It's a good program. Only thing is, it's a little expensive. Career services, I've not heard very good things about them. if if I may say that. So it's a better program than NU, but not elite. But again, both these programs you'll get a job, so you'll be fine. Can you explain the difference between NYU MSIS management and systems and management of tech programs? I don't know what this management and systems is, but NYU MSIS and management of technology are courses that people very regularly apply to. MSIS is an information systems program, so the technical focus will be a lot more. You'll have core CS courses like database management systems, data structures, and all of these, right? So there is a coding heavy curriculum, and then you can get into either product management, but a lot of people go into core tech roles. So they use that program to shift from a non-CS background to a CS role. Management of technology is far more general management oriented. It's like an engineering management program. There is no coding subjects. In fact, there is more general management subjects, and then you can choose electives, which are slightly more technical. So NYU MSIS is more a coding heavy program. Management of technology is a more general management program. Really depends on where your interests lie. One can't say which is better than the other. However, NYU MSIS is offered by the Courant School, which is the actual Manhattan campus of NYU, which is a much better school in my opinion. So NYU MSIS would be one of the elite MIS programs. The management of technology at NYU maybe not an elite program, but again, definition of elite varies subjectively. So don't go by me, blindly. All right. If the TOEFL requirement is not met, the chances of getting an admit lower. Yes. If you do not meet the cutoff, you will be rejected for the TOEFL. Very, very rare that they will overlook that. It's a very hard cutoff for that. If you're looking for scholarships from colleges, do we need to send financial aid related docs before getting an admit? You could. Certain universities request for it. If I'm not wrong, USC requests for it to submit it. Dartmouth, if you're applying for MEM, will require for the CSS profile. So if you want to be considered for the scholarship, send it now. Even after you get the admit, they'll give you the option to upload it. But might as well do it early. Why do you want to delay stuff? All right. Is it okay in the SOP if you say your goal is PhD and you're applying to MS to obtain skills to identify relevant PhD problems in a particular area? You could. Don't mention a PhD. Just mention that you want to go do research. Now, whether the research is at a corporate or another college is immaterial to them. But if you want to research in a particular area, talk about during the MS and post the MS, you want to research a particular area to specifically solve certain problems. Don't talk about a specific PhD, because I don't think it adds that much value. Research is focused enough without you committing to another degree after the program, right? And I hope if you're saying that, you're applying to a thesis track. If you're applying for a non-thesis track and saying you want to research somewhere, it's just not a very compelling narrative. In the SOP, starting the goals at the top after intro paragraph kind of seems abrupt as opposed to mentioning it at the end. It's not abrupt. It really depends on how you transition it and your own story. Your SOP, you're establishing the purpose, and then you're starting off on your journey towards your goals. A little bit of abruptness also is okay. So I cannot suggest a solution without looking at your document or without looking at your story. So that's a very sort of generic question. Unfortunately, I will not be able to answer that because I don't know what your story is. I don't know what your goal is. But my suggestion is, even if it's a little abrupt, it's okay. Nobody is looking at how well and beautifully you write a novel at this point in time, right? So it needs to convey a general direction towards which you've been working and where you wish to go over a few years. All right. Can you elaborate on Dartmouth social essay requirement for MEM? Yeah, that is a fairly important essay. It essentially talks about how you used engineering to solve a problem or make the world a better place, or help those in need. Now, good approach to this would be to talk about one example that's very solid, where you've actually made a difference. Again, this doesn't have to be charity, right? You could have made your professors' lives easier, or somebody's lives a little easier by automating something. For example, I've a brilliant essay that I saw a few years ago was somebody who used created a CRM essentially from scratch for free for a local kirana store owner around their college campus, right? You might not think that's great social service, but it helped them with their bookkeeping and essentially help them increase profits because they're doing their inventory management a lot better. So that's also solving and making people's lives a little better. So usually one solid example that is detailed enough would be a good way. If your examples are not long enough and you have to write maybe a 400 500 word essay, you can talk about one or two things also. That's still fine. Would an LOR of 250 300 words be good? It should be. I would recommend you keep it to about 3/4 of a page. It's very unnatural for somebody to write more than one page about you. So about 400-ish words on the higher end is also good. Dartmouth's MEM supplemental essay I just covered. All right. Do programs like MISM, BDAT, CMU, and Columbia MSBA value the GRE even though they call it optional? So, MISM, BDAT, CMU, and Columbia MSBA are what I would define as elite programs. What I mean by elite is the competition is incredibly high, and you really have to be damn good to get in, right? So you'll have to assume that a lot of these people who are applying to these programs will be applying with a GRE, and your GRE score is 316, which is pretty decent, right? It's not a bad score by any means. So I would recommend that you submit the score for both these programs. However, keep in mind that both these programs will have an emphasis on quant. Your quant score of 161 may be on the lower end, but I would still report your score if I were you. All right, for someone with operations and mechanical engineering degree, would an MS in supply chain or MEM make more sense looking to get into operations field only? Don't do a supply chain management degree unless you have at least a couple of years of experience within supply chain. The reason being you'll get into the program, but afterwards, when you're doing the job search for something as specialized as supply chain, the recruiters are going to want to know what prior experience you have in the area. So instead, get into MEM, do an operations sort of specialization, then look for supply chain roles. You will have access to them. If you're not able to crack them, at least the MEM degree gives you the flexibility to pivot into something else. So that's how I would plan it. I wouldn't, put my eggs in one basket and do a supply chain if I don't have work experience. If you do, then you can do a supply chain management degree also. It's very much in demand right now. All right, best MEM program for a chemical engineering with 2 years of product management experience and want to continue as a product manager. Very good. MEM is a perfect fit for you. Duke is a great program. Cornell is a great program. Johns Hopkins is a great program for product management. Northeastern is a great program for product management. USC, when the curriculum is not friendly enough, the location makes it a decent program for a product management. So there is no issue of finding, programs for yourself, but finding the right ones that you can make it to is very, very important. So if you need any help with that, please do reach out to us at Gradvine. The link has been put in there. All right, how to plan my application for fall 2023 Texas A&M MS in Industrial Engineering with respect to application deadline? Am I too late to apply? You're not too late to apply, but keep in mind that Texas A&M is a rolling deadline very, very often, even though they might not say it. Deadline, if I'm not wrong, Jan 15th or March 15th, one of them, or it's just March 15th. But my recommendation, apply by the middle of December. Don't go into January. People have applied in January also and gotten in, so it's not too late. But if you apply by December 15th and your profile is solid, you can still get in. If you need any help with the application process, please do reach out. We'd love to help you out if you have to get your SAP done in a fast pace. Is MCS on par with an MSCS degree? I'm asking because MSCS degree have a mandatory thesis, which I don't want to do. MCS or an M engineering are on par with an MSCS degree. It doesn't make any difference if your objective is to get a job. In terms of job opportunities, non-thesis tracks do just the same thing. They are valued exactly the same way. And also you will find that the curriculum is going to be very much the same. So if you don't like thesis, if you don't like research, don't apply to a thesis track. Apply for an MCS, you'll be absolutely fine. All right. Does the university at Buffalo require high work experience? I don't know for what program you're applying to. It depends on the program. But the university itself is not like high work experience. It really varies on the program. So can't give a one size fits all answer for that. All right. Is no publication an issue for the MSCS admit? If you're applying for the thesis track program, then it could be a little bit of a handicap if you don't have research papers. However, if your projects are solid enough, then it's okay. You can still crack a thesis track program. But my recommendation, if research is not your thing, then definitely apply to the non-thesis programs because your career outcomes are the same. Your likelihood of getting in is higher. So definitely consider the non-thesis tracks. Don't have anything in your mind that MCS and MSCS are different. All right, is 97 an okay TOEFL score for good universities? Should be, by and large, should be. Some universities have a strangely high cutoff. I know that UC Boulder, for instance, has 102. So if there's 1-2 universities in your list where you're not meeting the cutoff, then just replace it with something else. 97 by and large should serve you okay. All right, is MEM worth it? I'm having 2 years of experience. It certainly is. My view, or what I've seen from first-hand experience, seeing the journey of MEM grads last 6-7 years. After computer science and analytics, MEM has the highest demand, right? Anything software related and data related, MEM grads are doing very well. So it's definitely worth it. Really depends on what career outcomes you want, right? If you want to get into something like product management, project management, operations management, supply chain, then it's a great program for sure to apply to. All right, I have an admit from RWTH. I'm assuming that's Aachen for their data analytics program, but the fees is 30k euros. Okay, is it a good option to consider? Certainly is. If you don't have any issues with the language, it certainly is. All right, I have a 7.56 GPA with a 301. Which university should I apply for MEM? See, again, I keep saying this, constantly, right? It's not about, which university should I apply. You'll have a decent shot at some good schools. Northeastern, maybe in NYU you can push for. But it really depends on what career outcomes you want, what budget you have, what locations you want to be in, specific job roles you want to be in. Now MEM is not like, there are only 5 schools that are worth going to. There are at least 15, 16 very good programs that are getting you great jobs. So, which one you should apply really depends on your interest. So I would definitely recommend you sign up with us, and we'd be happy to, help you understand your interest and, go ahead and apply for it. But Northeastern NYU definitely push. I've had similar profiles get into UIUC also, which is one level above. But really depends on if you like the curriculum and the career outcomes. All right, MSBA versus MEM, very different courses. Business analytics is far more technical. Business analytics, most people get into data analyst or even data scientist roles and MLAI roles later. Some of them transition into product management after working for a couple of years. But the courses in general are far more coding heavy. MEM is more general management. So the degrees are very different. One has the temptation to think that they're within the same family, but they're not. Even though business analytics, there is the word business there. It's very very data heavy. So, once you look at the curriculum, you'll understand. All right, next question. Is it bad if the name of your undergrad institute does not appear in the application drop down of the university list available? Not really. It happens a lot. My own university didn't drop down. I got into Dartmouth, so you should be fine. All right. Does a TOEFL score of 90 affect my admission into an MSCS program? While many universities have said 80 is minimum score, should I send this with a 90? As long as you clear the cutoff even by 1 point, the TOEFL does not play a role. But if you're even below the cutoff by 1 point, you will not get in. That's the way the TOEFL is, evaluated. So whether you clear it by 1 point, whether you clear it by 30 points, doesn't matter. You can go ahead and apply for wherever 80 is the minimum score. You'll be fine. San Jose State University, I got admission for MEM. Is it best university or not? Very random question, my friend. It is not the best university. There are better universities. It is a good university. It's in a great location. It's in the Bay Area. You will find jobs. But depending on your profile, maybe you can get into better places. But overall, if you go there, will you get a job? Will you get good return on investment? Yes, I would say so. All right, your opinion on the TAMU MEM program. TAMU is Texas A&M for the unversed. Good program, very good program, low cost, but it is very industrial engineering heavy, very operations heavy. It is not for people who are looking for more general management curriculums. It is more for people who are looking at getting into operations, supply chain, industrial engineering, manufacturing roles. If you're okay with that, it's a great program. But if you're not okay with that, don't apply. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Is 96 a decent TOEFL score? Yes, I'd answered this earlier also, but 96 should do the job for most universities. If you're clearing the cutoff, it's a good TOEFL score. Whether you clear it by 10 points or 5 points or 1 point, it doesn't matter. But if you're not clearing it, it's a bad score, right? While this seems obvious, a lot of people have a misconception. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Very few universities have a cutoff of 100, 102, 103. Very, very rare. But if you look at the cutoffs from the universities of choice, if you're clearing all of them, don't worry, it's a good score. Beyond that, it doesn't matter what the perception of it is. All right, MEM programs are longer and have more flexibility, but MSBA programs seem to have higher salary ranges. Yeah, because MEM programs usually take in people without work experience also. MSBA programs typically requires a little bit of work. So people, start off as, not as freshers, but somebody who have prior work experience. So the salary is naturally going to be higher. Second thing is core tech and coding roles, always the salary ranges are higher, right? So that's not a fair comparison, apples to oranges. If you like the MSBA program, apply there. If you like the MEM program, apply there. You'll be fine. Really comes down to preferences. It's not like you're comparing two similar courses, right? For you to make that choice. All All right. Is the upcoming recession going to have an impact in job opportunities for USA and Canada in the following years? Please answer. I will. So see, the upcoming recession, the recession's been coming for a very long time. It's not here yet, but again, guys, please don't throw around the terms recession. Recession is basically, an economic situation is called a recession if there is negative GDP growth for two successive quarters, right? That's not happened yet. Now let's assume that it happens now, right? It's happening, as we speak. It's happening in the next 3 months. You are not going to join college if you're applying now until August 2023. You're not going to graduate until December 2000, 24, or maybe even the middle of 2025 if you join in 2023, right? A recession will not last 2.5 years. I certainly hope not. Even the 2008 recession, the upswing started, end 2009, early 2010. The markets are back, with a vengeance. So recessions don't last so long. Recessions are going to affect people who are graduating now. And they joined college maybe 1.5, 2 years ago, where nobody would have predicted anything. We were fighting with Corona at that point, right? So the current situation is not going to affect you later. Now, if something else will come, we don't know. But the current recession, just basic common sense would dictate that for somebody who's joining college only in next August, it's not going to affect them 2.5 years down the line, right? So just basic common sense. How's the information technology and management course at UT Dallas? It's a very good program. I would recommend it. Do top schools for MSBA like Columbia, UCLA, CMU, BIDA give an advantage to early applicants? Any schools that definitely do. These three programs, not really. I've seen people who applied, very close to the deadline also do all right. They've gotten in, so I don't see any inherent, disadvantage because decisions only are released, earlier. Any schools that definitely do in the BA business analytics, not really, but in generally schools that do Texas A&M, if you're applying to anything there, they do a little bit of a rolling admit. Johns Hopkins for the MEM program does a little bit of a rolling. But the ones you mentioned, I don't see any of them doing that. But again, that doesn't mean you stretch your application till one day before the deadline. That's just very stressful and you're prone to mess ups. But by and large, for these schools, you should be okay. Apply by mid-December. It's a good time. Which programs need an interview before the admit besides JHU? All right. Dartmouth will need it. Cornell will need it. Purdue will need it. Duke used to need it. Last year it did not. This year I don't think it will again. But yeah, by and large, among the programs that you apply, these are the ones that require the interview. What do we put for questions regarding sufficient funds for the first year? They specifically ask amount for US dollars. That depends on the school you're applying to. Usually there is a estimate that is given on the website, or in the form as well. You have to show that you have exactly that amount in the bank, and you'll be all right. How is NYU Tandon compared to other NYUs? All right. Story time. NYU had two campuses, right? There was, again, it wasn't NYU two campuses. There were two universities. One was NYU, which is in Manhattan. That's the main campus with the Courant School of Business and the world famous Stern School, Courant School of Sciences, and the world famous Stern School of Business. That was the NYU. And there was a university called NYU Polytechnic, right? So NYU Polytechnic was a different school. What happened around 2013, if I'm not wrong, or 2012, was NYU Polytechnic and NYU, both of them merged to become one entity, NYU, right? So the Tandon School of Engineering was within the erstwhile NYU Polytechnic, whereas Courant and Stern come under the Manhattan, NYU, which is earlier, which is been there, the legendary one essentially. Now nowadays you get the same NYU degree, so it's not very different. Usually Tandon courses are a little easier to get into, but you'll be fine in either case. All right, I'm a chemie with NIT from NIT. Very nice. 8.5 plus GPA, 2 years work experience, three research internships. Should any of you be on my list? It should. It's a good safe option. It should. All right, are degrees from iSchool worth it? Like MSIM from UIUC, UW, UT Austin? Definitely are. MSIM from University of Washington iSchool is in fact the better program. Don't apply to the Foster program. That's not very friendly for international candidates. The iSchool MSIM from UWash is, in my opinion, a top three MIS program in terms of the quality and also in terms of the career outcomes. Fantastic, definitely worth it. MSIM from UIUC, apply to the one from Guy's School of Business. That's the more popular program. UT Austin is absolutely fine. Very, very good programs. Don't worry about the iSchool, tag. Doesn't make a difference. All right. We have a lot of questions and we are running out of time. So I will try and go through all your questions, guys. Again, thank you so much for the love and interest and keeping them coming in, and for trusting our word. Really means a lot to us. If we are not able to answer your questions, please do schedule your free consultation on www.gradvine.com. My colleague Nilesh has put that clickable link there. Again, get that consultation. It doesn't matter if you're enrolled in some other consultancy. It does not matter if you don't wish to sign up with us, but that consultation will really help you out. So definitely schedule that and speak to my team to get your queries answered, right? Before I jump back into your questions. All right. If I don't send the GRE score to the university who kept it optional, will my profile be considered lower than the others? Not necessarily, but if it's optional, definitely a high GRE score will add as a bonus to your application, right? If you have something which maybe people are not reporting the score, doesn't have, so it is definitely valuable, but depends on what your score is and depends on the programs you're applying to. But definitely, if you have a decent score, 315 plus, good idea to report. If I apply for an MS and CS program which has optional thesis, should I explicitly mention in my SOP that I'm looking to pursue a non-thesis track? Not necessarily. See, if you're specifically choosing the thesis, you talk about a thesis. If you're not choosing the thesis, why do you want to say I'm not choosing the thesis? Doesn't make sense, right? Just talk about your goals and where you want to go, and maybe places that you want to intern in. Potentially. All right. Is there a way to leverage a good TOEFL score for during post application for grants? I have 115. That is a brilliant question. Thank you so much for that. This is something that could definitely help you out. Your higher TOEFL score can be used for TA opportunities, right? So you can write that when you're writing emails to professors for potential TA opportunities, because a large part of TA, apart from subject matter expertise, is the fact that you can communicate well in English, right? And you can really be a persuasive communicator and effective communicator. And a TOEFL score of 115 really shows that. So that is something that you can use for teaching assistantships. For scholarships, not really. For scholarships, your GP and the rest of your profile are far more important. All right, for the Dartmouth supplemental essay, can we write one example with social service and another which utilizes engineering? You can. That is also fine. I've had people who've written purely engineering stuff. I've seen people who've written pure non-engineering stuff, and they've both gotten in. So it's absolutely okay. If one gets an admit from Brown Prime, should someone defer or go next year? I don't know, my friend. It really depends on what your plans are, on what career outcomes you want. If you like the program, you go this year, you will still get a job. Sure, it's expensive, but you should be able to get a job. If you want a program with slightly more technical, curriculum, which I strongly recommend, then maybe apply to better schools and defer it. So I can't give a generic answer to whether you should defer it or no. I don't know what your situation is. So really depends on what your situation is. Just schedule a free consultation with my team, and they'll be happy to answer. What is the minimum GRE you've seen gotten into NYU MOT? I had somebody with a 298 get in. This was a couple of years ago. So 298 also they got in. Apart from USA, is there any good country for the MEM program? Yes. Netherlands, decent option. If you're really, really looking to escape from the US, then Ireland is an okay option. Canada has one program, MIM, with an analytics track at McGill, which is fairly decent. So, good options, but the USA is by far and away the best. I wouldn't look, elsewhere. All right, for Dartmouth additional essay, would you suggest to mention one example or more than what you've done for the community? You can explain more. You can write more than one example as well if they're solid enough. It really depends on a case to case basis, and somebody who is aware of it. Will take a judgment whether you have to write in more detail about one experience or if you should write two. If they're impactful, then writing two, there's nothing wrong with it. Even though the question might imply that you have to write one example, it's okay to write two also. Is WES evaluation needed for industrial engineering at TAMU, or just attaching screenshot from Scholaro enough for GPA? If they're giving you the Scholaro option, Scholaro is enough. Don't do a WES evaluation. Texas A&M, MIS requires WES. San Jose State, MEM requires WES. Carnegie Mellon, MIS requires WES. If you're applying to Santa Clara for any program, likely will require WES. But if they have an option for you to upload Scholaro, that's more than enough. Is the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, good for CS or IS? Don't see a lot of Indian students going there. It's a very good program and a very good location, so don't worry about it. Should you admit getting a backlog if a backlog is not highlighted in the transcript? Why would you? Don't do it. All right. How should one fill the other schools you're applying to during application form for various MEM? See, that is just a survey question, that has no implication or effect on whether you get in or no, or your chances of getting it. So they just want to see where what their competition is, right? The universities where other kids are applying, typically, to see who's applying maximum to a lot of programs. So it's okay if you leave it blank also, but again, it's unrealistic. Maybe mention two or three programs at the very at the most, because it's obvious that when you're an Indian student, you'll apply to multiple places. If you leave it blank in the application, it's fine, leave it blank in the application. But if they ask you during the interview, definitely take one two names. That should be okay. All right, your sessions have been the most helpful advice I've gotten. Please continue holding these in the future. Thank you so much. Means a lot that you took out your time to give us a compliment. We do a lot of these sessions, of course, because we want to sell our services. We are a business. We have to survive. If we have to maintain this office, definitely we do it because we want to sell packages. But also, what we see is, for those students who cannot afford our services, right? And we know that we are a little bit of a premium price service for good reason, because of the results we've delivered. We want to make sure that even when they're getting misguided by these 5,000 rupee consultants, or these guys who lack experience, maybe you paid there and you're stuck. At least if you attend these sessions, we are dispelling a lot of the wrong information those guys are giving you. And a lot of times, just one of these sessions can give you some bit of advice, some spark that completely changes the way you're applying, or even the places you're applying to, right? And that gives us absolute joy, because we are and I have no qualms or no reservations in stating this, the only or the biggest source of unbiased, well-informed information. We don't have any sort of bad intentions, preconceived notions, or any other hidden sort of agendas for giving you the information. It is just based on our past experience, to make sure you don't make mistakes that we might have made years down the line, or certain other students might make, right? So it's really, really nice when we see that these sessions are useful. That is also a major objective, apart from us selling our services, for you guys to get some great information, so that you don't fall into the pitfalls during this stressful process. So I'm glad, and we certainly will keep doing this. In fact, I'm hosting a webinar where I'm going to do a more elaborate 1 hour doubt clearing session for all your application materials, all your application filling. So mark your calendars for that. That's going to be next Saturday or Sunday, if I'm not wrong. It's been going to be posted on our social media. So follow us. We'll definitely be doing more sessions. And thank you so much, Harshavardhan. I'm glad you're finding this useful. We are always around to help you out. All right. Should I add my GRE score of 315, where it's optional for Northeastern Computer Science? You should. 315 is a good score. 315 is a good score. Reported. All right. Oh yeah. By the way, we have a WhatsApp community now. WhatsApp has started this new feature. So it's you can join it using the link that that's come from the Gradvine page. So that's where we'll be pushing articles, we'll be pushing tips, we'll be pushing updates about webinars, and a lot of general information, straight to your WhatsApp for free, right? So definitely join that community, and it's an easier way for you to access us when you have questions as well. So use that link to join in. That'll be super helpful. Thanks for putting that up, Nilesh. I completely forgot about that. But another avenue, for you to, definitely, get more information, because that's the objective of this entire exercise, right? How do you discern between SOPs after going through so many of them? That's a very nice question, right? I probably go through more SOPs, or not right now, but at least in the past, I've gone through more SOPs than admissions committee, so I know what a good one is and a bad one is. Keep in mind, right? SOP doesn't have to be excellent, guys. It's not going to blow anyone's mind, right? The people who are sitting there who are 40, 50 years old, their hair has turned gray reading SOPs. So if you really think you're going to write something different, you are mistaken. Just don't make that futile effort. You will go make a mess and write nonsense, right? Trying to impress somebody. SOP is not a creative document. They aren't looking to have their mind blown. They aren't looking for anything different, right? They really really want to know what are your goals, why do you want to apply to this program, whether you understand what this program offers, and whether you know your own strengths and weaknesses, and have you done anything in life. If you convey that in the simplest possible terms, they just get to know, apart from your resume, okay, this guy has done this, he's a fit for the program, let me offer and admit. They're not going to say this is such a lovely beautifully written document, this guy is like Einstein's cousin, and I'm going to give them the admit, right? Doesn't work that way. So please do not try and make your SOP different or impactful. That's when you go make a mess, right? Basic goals, your journey towards your goals, how the university is going to help you get to your goals in the simplest possible terms. I request you, whether you're taking our services, whether you're not taking our services, don't go overboard with your creativity. That is not the right way to go about an SOP, right? So I hope that bit of help advice helps. When is the safe time to apply for JHU, since JHU has semi-rolling decisions? Would you be a little worried or disappointed if I told you that a couple of our students have got interviews already? So you should be applying right now, right, as soon as possible. At least worst case by sometime in the middle of December, please apply. GHU has started giving out interview calls, so you're already at a little bit of a disadvantage. No need to panic, but do it quickly. GHU, even on the webinar that they hosted in collaboration with us, they said that, oh yeah, we are not going to review anything before March 31st or whatever. Not the case. Couple of students have got interviews, so do it soon. All right. Does Gradvent provide assistance only for USA masters, or can we use your help for European masters too? We do Europe too. European masters degrees, the best universities you name it, our students have had admits. We say US a lot because our volumes are much higher. The questions are generally higher for US based courses. That's why we talk a lot more about US. But Europe is something that we do as well. TU Delft, RWTH Aachen, TU Munich, TU Berlin, KTH, all of these our students get in regularly. Not as many apply. How is the Columbia Cornell MSOR program to get into analytics? Pretty decent. It's possible as well, but there's so many good analytics programs. So why would you go through, slightly more theoretical sort of OR program to get in there, right? Would you recommend the Georgetown MIM program for product management? No, there are better programs. Georgetown MIM. Georgetown is not a great engineering school, first of all. So I wouldn't recommend it. For product management, there are far better options. All right. I have not taken the GRE and TOEFL. Am I too late for fall 22 MEM? See, GRE, a lot of universities have made it optional. You can still apply, you can still hope to get into decent places. But TOEFL, there is no remedy or medicine for that. It is not too late, but please take that TOEFL fast. A lot of your deadlines are going to be Jan 15th. It takes about a week to 10 days for these official scores to reach the university. It is okay if the score reaches, after the deadline also, because the number at least you can enter in the application, but not too late. But it's high time you take it now. I've seen people who've written the GRE and TOEFL sometime in the middle of December and still crack great admits. So you're not too late, but it's high time you start now. And you have to work on your application materials in parallel also. You have no choice at this point in time. So do reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you out with the process, even fast track it a little bit. All right. How would you rank ISB versus MEM or MIS programs, MIM programs in the US for product management? See, MIM, right, am I even allowed to say this? MIM is nonsense. Don't apply to it. Doesn't add any value. It's just a money making degree. You need certain hard skills for if you're pursuing a management program for with limited work experience. This I'm saying even though our MIM package is higher, right? We charge more, but I'm still saying don't apply to MIM. Job opportunities are just not as good. ISB versus MEM, really you cannot compare apples versus oranges. ISB is a safer bet because you don't have to be dependent on a visa and you have campus placement. However, your starting salaries are also going to be lower, and you have to go through the Indian corporate setup. If you're okay with that, then product management jobs after an ISB degree are also fairly popular. MEM, if you want to go to the US and really have vertical growth, if you want to work in a different geography where the work culture and the kind of work they're doing is definitely far more advanced, then do the MEM. Can't compare the both, compare the two, especially considering they're in different countries, right? It really depends on what you want. All right. I'm a 2022 pass out. My company is keen on postponing my joining date. Is it too late to fill application? I've taken TOEFL. What do you suggest? All right, I just answered a part of your question. Take the TOEFL soon. Within the next 20 days, if you can take the TOEFL, then you can apply for fall 22. Not too late. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to be a little bit of a stressful experience, but doable. It's not too late at all. You can go for it. All right. 7.18 GPA, TOEFL 93, GRE 305, plan to apply for fall 2023. Any universities? I'm thinking of not going to San Jose. Revant, keep San Jose. It's good that you've deferred it. If I remember right, I think you've deferred it. But if you've not, then definitely defer it. Try and push for Northeastern, NYU. I think both those programs are definitely better than San Jose. Look at UIUC, push for it. It's going to be difficult. I think the priority deadline's gone already. That would have been an advantage if you applied by November 15th. But you can look at NEU, NYU, UIUC, maybe push for a USC as well, University of Southern California. It's going to be difficult, but because you already have San Jose in the back pocket, you might want to consider these. These are definitely better schools. As most of the top MEM programs are on the East Coast, how easy or difficult would it be to move to the West Coast? Thank you. That's a lovely question. And this is something that, I wonder also. I don't have an explanation as to why too many top West Coast schools don't have good MEM programs, which is okay. I mean, we can't help that. A lot of people who graduate from MEM programs at Duke, at Dartmouth, get placed in the Bay Area, right? That is common. It's not very difficult. In fact, I know people who are hell-bent on securing West Coast roles, and they applied only to them. And they got in, right? It should not be too much of a problem to move, but be open. Don't be fixated on moving to the West Coast only. All right, just give me. Right. Is there any disadvantage of applying just one day before the deadline? For CS, yes. For MEM, maybe not. But why do you want to push it till then? Something or the other will go wrong, right? So no real disadvantage. But if you're applying to CS, yes, the decisions will have been made earlier. They only get released later. But if you're applying for MEM or BA or something, maybe not too much of a disadvantage, except Johns Hopkins and a couple of others. How important are research papers for non-research oriented programs like MSBA? They're nice to have. It'll add value to your profile, but not a huge deal if you don't have them. Not a big disadvantage. All right, will a 302 GRE score, 2 years of work experience in operations management, 2 internships, 1 tech research paper, 8.2 GPA be good enough for TAMU MEM? It should be. It should be. I think you'll have a fairly decent shot. It's not a lock, but you should be able to get it. All right. On an average, how much is the total cost to attend an MS CS program in the US? Varies greatly. If you go to something cheaper like a public school, like something like a Texas A&M, which is also very good, you'll be done in about 30, 35, 40 lakhs at the most. If you go to something like a Columbia or a UPenn, that could go up to 75, 80 lakhs. So that's the range. Really depends on the schools. I've known people who gone to both Columbia and Texas A&M, and one would argue that Columbia maybe is marginally better than Texas A&M, or quite a bit better, maybe, or at least just better than Texas A&M. But they still chose to go to Texas A&M because they're going to be earning the same after spending half the amount. So really depends on what your priorities lie, but that's the range. All right, we are reaching 9 p.m. and I had planned this out for 45 minutes, and I think we have done about a 50-minute session so far. So thank you so much. I was overwhelmed by the number of questions that came in, and I'm very happy that I was able to answer a good number of them. Of course, if I wasn't able to answer any of your questions, you can always schedule a free consultation call with my team at gradvent.com, and they would be happy to answer all your questions. We help out with your university shortlisting, we help out with your statements of purpose, we help out with the recommendation letters, we help out with the resume, we help out with the additional essays. There are a lot of them. We help you out with the interviews for MIS and MEM programs, which also exist. We help you with the post-admit visa process, financial planning, which is very important. We tell you whether you should take a collateral-free loan. We tell you if you take it from a public sector, if you take it from an NBFC, what kind of interest rates you get. We give you that suggestion and give you contacts with our loan partners as well. So we are your end-to-end partners, and partners who are both well-informed, unbiased, and with an unmatched track record in terms of cracking great admits, right? And that's what you should always aim to do. Try and get into a good university. So take that free consultation call. After that, if you want to take any of our paid services, you absolutely can. Otherwise, join our WhatsApp community, follow me on LinkedIn, follow our YouTube channel. Great information is one thing that keeps constantly coming, consistently from Gradwine. So, please do follow us on our social media, schedule a free consultation call, and I will see you next, week on a webinar that I'm hosting. And, I'd be, happy to, take your questions there as well. But until then, if you want to reach out to my team, please go ahead. It was lovely speaking to you guys. Join our WhatsApp community. I think Nilesh has put that there as well. Very, very useful source of, we send you the right information at the right time, even information that, you are not aware of, that is critical, because we know how application cycles go. That is something that we send in at the right time, which can be, incredibly useful, prevent you from making mistakes. So join our WhatsApp community, follow our social medias, and stay in touch. We are your friends throughout this process. Thank you so much for joining in.